Hey, I know it's in our nature to cut a guy some slack, give him the benefit of the doubt, like maybe he was confused or just joking or just maybe really needed a double-double. But this isn't that guy. These aren't those people, and those are not the Rockies. They make a lot of mistakes. They mistake our modesty for meekness, our kindness for consent, our nation for another star on their flag, and our love of a hot, cheesy poutine with their love of a hot, cheesy Putin. They think they can bully us, threaten us, and push us around, but they do not know us. That artificially drawn line they keep talking about, not artificial, and it's not on a map. It's right here. This is the land that Terry ran, the land that Gord sang about. This is the birthplace of peanut butter and ketchup chips and yoga pants. It is the land of universal health care and the bench clearing for all, of innovation and optimism and getting her done. This is the land of the peacekeeper and the Shawinigan handshake. Are we perfect? No, but we are not the 51st anything. We are the first to unite in a crisis, the first to build bridges, not walls, and the first to stand on guard for thee. My name is Jeff, and we are Canadian. Thank you.
You tell him, Jeff. You tell him. Hey, it's Ego and Vice. Welcome to Season 8.
You've got a real attitude problem, McFly. You're a slacker.
Born and raised in South Bay, lower class punk ass, I was Northwood grade. I had it made. Spent my nights drinking with my mates. Just a short bus ride up to PA. Red River Red. Then I hit the wall and I knew I had to bounce. They still say that 19 years ago, hell, I got the hell out. From time to time you may see me hanging around. Now I feel like a stranger in this town. Crocs and rolls is where I learned to play. Westwood Tavern's where I learned to walk away.
Hey, how's it going? This is Mike. This is Ego and Vice, episode 153, I think? Maybe it's 152. Who's counting? Me? Apparently not. This is the season premiere of Season 8. I'm very happy to be back. I'm really happy to still be going strong with the Ego and Vice podcast 8 years later. Who would have thunk it? But here we are. My main goal has always been to showcase local music, showcase the local businesses, just Ottawa in general, the arts, a city that has been so good to me and people that have been so good to me that 8 years ago when I started this podcast, I wanted to give back. And I just keep on giving. I just keep on giving. What a guy, eh? No. I'd love to say it's selfless, but you know, it's exciting for me to do, and to meet people and to talk to other musicians and talk songwriting and talk just music in general. Is a very big part of my life, and to get to do it with like-minded individuals whom I like to call peers and some even friends, if you will. It's a treat, you know, it's a blessing that I get to do this and people want to do it with me. Wow. And it just keeps going and going. This is my mission statement. I plan to get to 10 seasons of Ego and Vice. 10 years is the goal. After that, if I keep going, I keep going. It's all up in the air. But until then, I have to keep going. Because 10 years is my goal. I can't stop at 9. Who stops at 9? There is no 9. There is 10. This is a bit of a different take on Ego and Vice for a season premiere because as we move forward with season 8, I decided, hey, why don't we jump backwards and check in on some previous guests? So I invented something called, this is a huge invention, a little bit of rocket science here, the 1 Year Later series. The idea is to have a couple bands back on and see what they're up to. Not every time, not every episode. The whole season's not going to be this way. It's going to be a special episode here and there. I follow the bands in town, and I see the success that they have had and the work that they put in. And I listened back to the earlier episode, or the very first episode, and I'm always kind of curious. It's like, I wonder if they had that in mind when they set out. So that's what I did. I called up the New Hires. My buddies, the New Hires. Awesome band. Great guys. And without a doubt, rolling along with great success. So I called them up and I said, hey, I have this idea. And they, before I even got it out, they're like, we're in. I'm like, nice. So we set a date. I said, you want to be the season premiere? They said, sure. And they came in and we sat here in my brand new Southwood studio. A brand new studio for season 8 and going forward. And we went over the past, well, technically I call it 1 year later, but I think it was like 17 months since they've been on. But who's counting? Just like the episodes. Apparently me. We had a great conversation. We touched base. We talked about the good old days. We talked about what's been going on in the past year. And where they're going in the future. Have they reached the goals that they've were striving for a year ago? 17 months ago? Let's find out. All right, let's get moving. I'm talking too much. I'm really happy to be back. I've already said it. I'm excited for a great season. I have it all lined up. Well, half of it anyway. But I have a vision. I'm very, very busy with my bands, Goat and the Riptides, which are both very active right now. Riptide's new record, Burn After Listening, on Pirates Press Records, drops March 7th, this Friday. You can get a copy online. You can order some vinyl. Limited edition. There's only 250, I believe. So get it while it's hot, because it's hot. Before we get back to Ego and Vice, before we get to the New Hires, as always, I just want to thank the supporters, the listeners, everyone that has lent a hand or an ear to Ego and Vice over the last 8 years. I couldn't do it without you. You send me the emails, I see the comments, and over the 8 years I watched this podcast grow and grow and grow to where it is now, and it's all because of you. It's a small niche DIY podcast. It's audio only, and I'm still not doing video. I get asked that all the time. No, I'm not. I'm an audio podcast. I'm old school. What can I say? I drive my car and I listen to podcasts. I'm not watching one on YouTube. Sorry. But above all that, you've embraced Ego and Vice, and it means the world to me. And the main thing is that the music and the artists are being heard, and they're getting out there. And I am so proud to be in the middle of that and pushing for these bands and this music to be heard, because it's amazing. And Ottawa has so much to offer. And you know what? If they hear it here first, even one person, then we're doing something right. So let's keep going. On that note, let's keep going into season 8. The season premiere, the 1 year later series, starring the New Hires. Yeah, let's do it. This is Ego and Vice. Good to be back.
Soft eyes, cherry lips, and I love you back to your old tricks.
rise till the sun fades. Looking for some peace of mind, but yet I find your ghost, it still haunts me. It's watching, waiting, dancing through my daydreams. Annabelle, don't you know that I was here waiting? Annabelle, Barrymore, you gotta get up. All of my favorite bars are now a part of your cemetery. Annabelle, you had my heart from the start. And isn't it scary to be waiting for a bell that just won't ring? Cover my eyes, still I can't escape you. Annabelle, don't you know that I was here waiting? Annabelle, Barrymore, you've gotta get out of my head. You gotta get out of my head. You gotta get Annabelle, don't you know that I was here waiting? Annabelle, don't you know you've gotta get out of my head? Annabelle, don't you know that I was here waiting? Annabelle, Barrymore, you've gotta get out of my head. You've gotta get out of my head. You've gotta get out of.
Hey, we're back. This is Ego and Vice. This is the season 8 season premiere. 1 year later. The start of the 1 year later series. I don't know what this is going to be, but I figured all the bands that I've had on the show, they kept doing stuff after they left Ego and Vice. Amazingly, they kept going. And I follow a lot of bands, and some bands I keep in touch with, and I wanted to have them back on, and like I say, just pick up where we left off just to see what's been going on. And I could think of no better band to have on the season 8, getting ahead of myself, season 8 season premiere 1 year later than the local band, my friends, the New Hires. What's going on, guys?
Hey.
Hello. Thank you for having us back.
Hello there.
Thank you for coming back.
And thank you for reserving our spot for season 9.
Well,
Looking forward to it. Well, no, he said
Oh,
this
yes,
is season 8,
season
but I already
nine.
promised
Yeah.
us season 9. So.
That's
This
awesome.
is a binding contract.
Are we recording this?
I have the editing button as well.
Hey, with great power comes great responsibility.
That's true.
That's
true. As always, how about just a quick introduction just to remind the fans of who you are, what's going on?
Well, hello there. I'm Aiden. I play guitar in the New Hires. And what's new? The New Hires have been very busy, and we have many plans to discuss. But I'll let that simmer. I guess you can just get excited about that, and I'll pass it to my colleagues here in the New Hires.
Hey, my name is Max. I'm the singer of the New Hires. And I guess to top Aiden, big things coming potentially. Phil. Next.
Segue. Nailed. I'm Phil, and I play guitar in the New Hires. And my fun fact is that the largest word in the English dictionary is anti-disestablishmentarianism.
How many letters in that?
I'm gonna go with
I figured you'd come
23
prepared if
Trebek.
you're going to drop a word like that.
Yeah, I should look
think-
it up, but I'm gonna go with 23.
I think we're just impressed that he can sound it out, you know?
No, he nailed the word, but he messed up dictionary.
yeah.
Is it English dictionary?
Biggest word in that word book.
yeah.
Gold star.
And I'm Christian. I'm the drummer. And everything you're hearing right now of all these other three guys are all lies.
Facts.
Cool.
Why else do you come on a podcast?
So how has the last, I guess, 17 months-ish been for you guys? What's been going on? If you ever want to listen to the early origins of the new hires, where they came from, what brought them to the dance, if you will, go back in the archives of Ego and Vice and listen to episode 1, or the first time, the new hires. But we're starting where we left off. So what's going on? What was the last thing you remember?
It was right before Ice Dragon Boat, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
Because we knew about it, but we weren't allowed to announce it.
So much has happened.
It's been a crazy year and a bit. It's been crazy. We've had a lot of big shows. We've had a lot of great momentum. We've had a band member leave and a band member join.
Mm-hmm.
It's just been a lot of fun. We've just been on quite the ride.
Cool. I'm going to start with the questions, the 1 year later questions, and you guys can just kind of jam off those. And each of you can give your opinions on it. Are you where you thought you would be a year ago?
Whoa, that's a great question. I think that we probably had high expectations, knowing us. But I think things turned out in a way that we wouldn't have expected, in a certain way, as well as a lot better than we expected. For example, I don't think that we thought we would be playing the Bronson Center probably last December. But we did, and it was a huge show. Amidst other successes, the EP we put out in last September too went so super well, the release show, and I think that looking back, hindsight is always a funny thing, eh?
It is. It's amazing. It's clear as a bell, isn't it?
Yeah.
That Bronson Center show. The Alley Beers, or Devin from Alley Beers was talking about it when they were on before Christmas or after Christmas. I don't know when it was. But it was you guys, fifth, Neon Ghost House, and who was the fourth? Complicit. Yeah, that's crazy. That's a huge gig. And I saw like some footage from it, and it looked like a huge gig. Was that your first time playing there?
Yeah, that was the first time playing there, at least for me.
Yeah.
That was insane.
Yeah. I've never played the Bronson Center. Back in my day, the big spot to play was Barrymore's. If you got to Barrymore's, that was the big stage in town, right? So I think as now that Barrymore's has gone the way of so many other bars that have lost their way, I suppose, Bronson Center's the big one. How was the sound up there? Sound good?
Great for me.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. Like, honestly, it was such a... Like, it was an honor to play there. But just to be able to show up and have the luxury of working with industry professionals, like, it was seamless all the way through, Like, the experience was kind of, like, ethereal for us, but at the same time, it was, like... It did kind of feel earned in some ways, but, like, the pleasure of just working with a lighting person, a sound person, a monitor mix person, and front of house people, and just that whole experience was just, it was, I think it made us...
green room too.
Yeah. I think we really soaked it in, and, I hope we get to play there soon, but just to work in a room with that many professionals that are like...
Did it top the fruit bowl, the fruit basket, and the air-conditioned trailer?
Nothing will ever top that. Nothing will ever
I had
top.
a little inside baseball. Listen to the first episode.
There was
Both
no
had free beer.
Yeah, we did have free beer in both situations. But...
I'm a happy camper in both, to be
If
honest.
there was a fruit basket, it would have topped it. No.
Perhaps a meat and cheese tray.
Charcuterie.
Yeah, that's good. Speaking of the EP that you released, that was For All Seasons back in September of 24. Now, that was comprised of some singles that you did release during the year as well, right? I have back from April of 24, you had Mission Control. This was kind of a busy spring-summer, I think. Mission Control. June, you had Down. July, you had Weekend. And August, you had Annabelle.
Yep.
Would you like to talk about any of those singles? What, where they came from? Where'd you record them? How did they do in the unwashed masses?
Yeah, I think it's funny, just like thinking, you mentioned, releasing them as singles. That was kind of like a different approach. I think we've taken different stabs at release structures for everything that we've done.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that was an interesting take on releasing those songs, because we kind of had them at the onset, and then, do you release EPs? Do you try and build an album? Do you just want to do singles? There's so many routes to take, but even to look back, we always thought that Mission Control would be the lead, and so we went with that first.
Mm-hmm.
We did our music video at Arts Court and stuff like that, so that was kind of interesting. But I'm trying to remember how that song started. Did that come out of when we learned Killers? I think that was kind of an inspiration for that.
The Killers?
I think
Little band from Las Vegas, I think.
Yeah.
Or something.
Never heard of them.
Never heard of them.
Yeah.
good Mormon boys.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. All right.
Yeah. I think putting that just speaking of the whole project in its entirety and why we kind of did that was we kind of identified an element for each song, and then we thought we would combine them all into the EP artwork. So, if you look at I think it's on Spotify or wherever you listen to music, you can see the art there, and it has an element from each song put together, and each song kind of has a symbol. Yeah, it's kind of cool.
That's cool. We did discuss singles and albums on the previous podcast, and I guess what you're doing is you're kind of building an album with singles, right? Because at the end of it, you're almost making like your greatest hits. Like you just put them all together 2 years from now, and it's like, here's everything.
That's what we should
all
call
in
it.
one with a bow. You know?
Yeah, and we had an idea of it being, which represents in the album art right now, is that it was always going to be unique elements that came together to form the idea. And I think we look back at it now, and I think we had a lot of ideas and a lot of concepts, and I don't know if we would do the same thing again. I don't think we regret the way we did it, but I still love the idea that we, at the end, the album art is like, it takes all 4 unique album art elements, or like the feeling of what song evokes, and then it did package in one like visual element, or like.
Did you make physical copies of these? Or you?
Yeah, we got CDs.
So you can put all the things together to have one.
Yeah, on the CD that's like cut in 4. And
Oh, that's cool. That's a good idea. You have to buy all 4 or whatever it is.
Yeah,
It's kind of like Pokemon in a way.
Yeah.
Got to collect them all.
You sit in the corner and be like, got it, trade you.
Yeah, exactly. Hologram.
Question 2 of a year later. You may have answered this already, but what's your best show memory of 2024?
We played a little street festival on Somerset, and it was
the Spectrum Street Festival.
Yes.
Shout them out.
it was an awesome time, but what made it memorable for me, at least, was it was our first show that we played in the rain. Like, it was fully outdoors, right? And it was a torrential downpour. We were worried that, like, the show wasn't going to happen. We had made it through about 45 minutes of the set, so they just told us, like, whatever, we'll throw some tarps on, and we will figure it out. And it was just one of those moments at the end. We were singing Get Out, and just in the torrential downpour, and just there was still a crowd of at least maybe, like, I don't know, 30 people there hanging out, staying around in the downpour.
Yeah.
that
that-
was
I
a
love
pretty
Summer,
cool.
man.
Was that our first show with Jack too?
That was our first show with Jack.
Yeah,
too.
that was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and I can't remember the sound guy's name.
Oh,
He's a beauty.
yeah. He
Yeah,
works at the Bronson Center too.
He was like running around trying to throw like plastic on the pedal boards and stuff, like trying to not short us out.
That's scary though, right? Because you're plugged into like electrical outlets, like you're wearing like a anyway.
Well, like at one moment I remember just thinking about it for a second, being like, this is really dangerous. And then immediately that thought left. And I was like, nah, we're good. This is fun.
I remember at one point being like, I'm getting wet, so I might as well just be wet. And you just like stand out in the rain, and I was just like, I don't know.
Yeah. What a way to go, too, right?
There was
It'd be like
something else. I ripped a solo, and like a big solo stood out in the rain. And it was like, oh man, it was like something out of a movie.
Imagine you got hit by lightning right there, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, Aiden, but that would have been, like, that definitely would have been.
That's an album cover right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, taking all our gear back too and sending it all out with a
Yeah.
fan and drying it all off. It was good.
Cool.
Yeah,
We survived.
That's a good memory.
Top that, boys.
Yeah.
Are you still recording? I believe you recorded your own stuff, or two of you guys had recording gear at your place that you could. I don't know if you did demos or if you did.
Yeah, demos. I mean, we can segue into
Our process.
big things coming.
Yeah.
Soon. Yeah, we just spent. Was that 2 weekends ago? We went to Jack's, place and set up in his living room and just had a bunch of mics, and we just recorded demos of what we're coming up next. But
Where did you record the 4-piece, art piece?
I was
That was Pebble Studios.
Pebble.
So that was the same one as Get Out, Say First, the first 3 that we released.
Corey Bergeron.
Pebble.
So that was with Corey and his team. So we did that over, I think it was over the span of maybe 4 to 6 months.
Would you call that like a concept record?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Generally, I would say they all tie in together in loose ways. So yes, you could view it as a concept record, because it could be seen, and we were looking at it when we were talking about music videos off the bat, as a linear story or things that progress. But they all stand as their own individual piece. So that's kind of also why we went via the single route, because it's not exactly one tying into the other, but it's more about they're all generally around things that happen in your everyday life and things that just end up affecting you in a way that might have, I don't know, bigger repercussions over years, right? So,
Cool. I was going to say, as a listener, if you listen to all 4, is there like a moral you were trying to get to, like a common thing? Like what would that be? Or is it kind of depending on the listener, you can take what you want from it type of stuff? Like if there wasn't like a pinpointed thing that you needed to get across?
No, I wouldn't say that there's like one thing you're supposed to take away from it. I think it's just generally the process of going through daily impactful events, right? And the things that truly have a change for your life, either for the positive or the negative, and how they all tie together. And
I think that's the best thing to write about, because it's real, right? And everybody can relate to everyday things, because people are people, and everyone kind of, to a certain degree, goes through the same stuff. Different faces, different places, and that. But that segues me into a different question. Beyonce just won a Grammy for Best Country Album.
yes, we'll do a country album.
If the New Hires did do a concept album, what would it sound like?
Like out of genre? Or concept
It's your
album?
concept.
Yeah.
Oh man,
We're making a hip hop record, guys.
I mean, I think if the common denominator of all of us manifested in a new direction, I think we would be an emo band.
Yeah.
I
You
think
make a Black Parade album,
Yeah,
but
you
in
know.
hearts.
Yeah, I think that's where our true hearts, our black hearts lie.
Yeah.
Are in some kind of emo. Now I
It was
don't know,
not a
has
phase,
an
Mom, I'm
emo
sorry.
band won
I'm still like
a Juno or a Grammy?
What's that?
Has an emo band ever won a Juno or a Grammy.
I mean, if MCR didn't win with Black Parade, man, does it
Or
count?
like Fallout Boy,
Fall Out
one of
Boy,
the
Under the
bigger
Cork Tree.
Yeah.
Panic at the Disco, that stuff. That was like probably the most radio friendly eligible emo, if you could call that emo. But I don't know. I don't really follow that. Did anyone listen to that Beyonce record? Any of it?
Not.
I did a couple times, and like, was it Texas Hold'em or whatever? And like, you know,
There's a couple of good tunes. I saw it the next morning, and I saw that she won, and my immediate reaction was, come on. But then if you think about it, she's from Texas. Like, she was born in Texas. Why not, right? And then I listened to it, and it's long. There's like 20 songs on it. It's just like, I can't get through all this. So I kind of just picked out a few, and I think that Texas Hold'em was one of the ones that I was listening to. And it's got like a really... And it sounds like a fucking $1 million because it probably cost $1 million to make.
and great Canadian songwriter on there. Worked with the Beaches, Lowell.
Oh,
I think that's how it's pronounced.
did not know that. There you go.
Good Canadian con on there.
Little
Yep.
piece of Canadiana in that Texas R&B album. I don't know. I don't know what
Texas
that means.
country.
But yeah,
there's
I mean,
Yeah.
it's amazing what, you know, I don't know what the video was. It was at like a football game or something, and she performed some songs from that album or whatever, but like, she gets after it. Talented. Like, the fact
Well-
that she can come through and like put an album like that and crush it, like, respect.
You got the money. You have the money and the connections and the time. I could have made that album if I had all those simple things. Anyway, what is the biggest lesson you learned in the last year as a band? I guess.
Trust the process.
Yeah, I was just gonna say slow down. There's a point where like you want so many things to happen so fast, and then you get to a point where it's twofold. It feels like it's not moving fast enough, and then moves super fast at the same time. Like when you think about it, like we've been a band and active for maybe 3 years, and we got to play a huge show at the Bronson Center. Like that's insane, right? And it's one of those things where you just want to have those things and you dream about it and you just get so excited about these things happening so fast that sometimes it's just, you got to trust the process and just continue and just be consistent and keep working at it.
Absolutely. You got to put in the work. And like I said, I follow bands all the time, and I see bands that do put in the work, and it doesn't help that you guys don't suck either. You guys are fucking a super fucking good band.
Thank you.
You know,
man.
and anybody can listen to the new hires and get into it. It doesn't matter, you know. And if people say they don't, they're just jealous.
I know the greatest lessons we learned from the last podcast episode we were on was just don't break up.
Yep.
We've actually repeated that
We
so
have?
many times.
Actually,
Don't break up. Sooner or later, you'll do something if you don't break up. And I said that's probably in a nutshell the best piece of advice you can give any band, because being in a band is like being in a relationship. It's like being in a family, and there's so much potential if you're doing super. I've been in bands that are doing super good and broke up because of squabbling and infighting and all that bullshit. And sometimes I sit back and think, I wonder what we'd be doing now if we didn't fucking, get mad at each other because someone took their shoes off in the back seat on a 100-mile fucking anyway.
Yeah. Well, speaking of like a relationship, it's like you also just have to put in effort. You just have to like take your little slice of what you can contribute to the band and do that, and just do it consistently.
I completely agree with you, which also segues great into one of my questions is being in a band can be hard work. Do you all still get along, and do you all still have the same goals?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like
surprisingly so.
Yeah.
I'd say.
we met up for a couple pints and did a marketing meeting before we came here, and it's like, because we want to hang out, catch up, like, hey, what'd you guys do since the
Saturday.
show we played on
Saturday.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
That's 2 days ago, by the way.
yeah, exactly. But like I'm really looking forward to, and I can confidently speak for everybody else that like we're heading to the studio to record some bangers, and like I'm, as much as I'm looking forward to like writing, putting what we've worked towards now for the last few months and putting it into its final form. But like, I'm looking forward to just going back to, we're going to Toronto and we're going to record, and we got an Airbnb, and it's like we're
It's
at
like
work.
a mini vacation.
Yeah, it's like a mini vacation, but I'm with my boys, and it's like, I'm looking forward to just us being in, like neutral territory. We're all in a new city, and we're just gonna like
Away from everything.
Yeah, we, you don't have your own baggage. We can go there and we can just have a good time, because anytime we've recorded, especially the last time, we went down and recorded the last couple of tracks in Toronto, like, it brought us so much closer together, and it was like just a good time to hang out.
Tour and studio is vacation, though. You know what I mean? Some people go to Disneyland. Some people go make music. But you should be enjoying it should be a getaway from everything.
It's
Yeah,
great.
it's
yeah.
super cathartic.
And the day it turns into that grind, that, then you got to kind of look inward and say, what
Reevaluate.
the hell's going on here? But it sounds great that I'm super happy to hear that you guys are all still on board.
Yeah.
No
Well,
one's died. No one's killed each other. That's good. That's amazing. And I think that's half the battle of just kind of existing, especially once you start doing well, because people get ideas and egos get a little weird, and I don't know, people start kind of drifting. Their thoughts drift. So if you guys are still on the same page, I think that's awesome. And I think that's special because, the music you make, that proof is in the pudding, because you listen to the music you make, and you guys all get along. You're all buds. That's chemistry you cannot fake or you can't buy.
Yeah, and the thing with it too is it is a lot of work, right?
Oh, yeah.
I think like people
Without-
sometimes don't realize how much work goes into building a project like this. Like, this has been 3 years worth of, I don't know, like going to shows
A lot of money,
constantly,
too.
right? A lot of money,
Dude,
a lot
I
of
think
time,
about this
a lot
project
of-
every single day.
yeah, it's becoming a part of I'm assuming I could speak for everybody here, but it's like becoming a
No.
part of your being. No. And it's one of those things though where you just have to keep working at it and keep doing at least one small thing every day towards it to try to see what you can do to get better at it, right?
That's right. Well, nothing worthwhile comes easy, as they say, right? So you got everything. You got to work for the things you want, and
It makes the
And-
successes that much sweeter.
that's right. And just like I said, with the Bronson Center, where you're surprised that you played there after 3 years, hard work pays off. It does. So the proof, again, you guys are working hard. I know it's hard. Trust me. I know it's hard. It's the hardest. It's like next to having like it's super hard. Try driving like 2 days without talking. Anyway, you get there too. Let's play a song. Let's play one of the songs that was released since the last time you were on. So I think some of the ones we named, anything you'd like. And we need an introduction.
Christian, pick one.
You're listening to Mission Control by the New Hires.
Right here on Ego and Vice.
What's life like past this parking lot? My will can't wander past the bar. I just can't shake this feeling. I just can't help but feel desk bound in a silent room, hoping the stars can align soon. So I can shake this feeling. No, I can't help but feel space now. Counting down the time till I can find my way. Think I have a problem, and I can't seem to let it go. So guess I'm on a mission, permission to lose control. Better call you say it's better to let
Hey, we're back.
Hey.
As you touched on earlier, you have a new member of the band. Did you want to talk about Arthur?
Sure, yeah.
He was the bass player that I met the first time on the first episode. Let's give him his moment in the sun. Unless you don't want to.
No.
Okay.
We love you, Arthur. We miss you.
There's a big fight, big
Yeah, no,
falling out.
The 5 softest guys in the Ottawa scene, we had a big
He
fight.
did give us one of our best motto.
Yeah, that he did.
For those of you who are lucky, you've heard it at a couple shows, but
Should we keep it a secret?
Yeah.
No, say it, dude. Say it.
no, we'll keep it a secret. But all around,
Yeah.
all around, it was we had a fantastic relationship with Arthur. It was super great to have him for the 2.5 years, and he ended up moving to Montreal. We tried doing the long distance part of the relationship for a little bit, and I think you just kind of know it isn't going to work out to a bass, and we went through the whole process of trying to find new members, and it's one of those things. It's like it's such a challenging process because there's so much uncertainty that comes with it. But we got really lucky in the end. Jack ended up joining us, I think, in August. That first show in the pouring rain was with Jack. So
Oh yeah, right. Welcome to the band.
yeah, quite the way to start off. But yeah, no, overall we're really lucky. I think like there's a point where in terms of members, we've had fantastic people to work with, and it was awesome to work with Arthur, and we were happy we got to have a send-off show with him for the EP release, just as a way to tie the bow and make sure that he had his flowers. And now with Jack, it's awesome. Same thing with him, in a sense, coming in and immediately playing Bronson as your first Ottawa show, technically, with us. So
Yeah, that's exciting. That's exciting for Jack to come in, especially at that point you were pretty well established, so he knew what he was getting.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure there was a lot of pressure on him to kind of like, well, here we go.
He freaking immediately meet the challenge. Like he came to our audition, and I think he knew like almost all the songs, like cold, and it was really impressive.
And we threw him some songs that we didn't even know that much.
Yeah, we didn't know that well, and he still
was
kept
just
up.
like-
So
Yeah, well, what I know from experience that him learning all those songs, he wanted the gig, and he got the gig. So you know what I mean. Like I said, hard work pays off. Learn the whole set. That's something to show for it.
Yeah, and it's tough because you're trying to find someone who's, musically capable, but also is a great dude to hang, right? You need someone that you can trust, someone, you're looking for something, the intangibles, right? And like Arthur was just a great dude, and it was a big change for us to find. So luckily, Jack came in kind of the 11th hour.
Yeah.
It was it was a good fit. So we're super lucky.
I've always said too, it's like he doesn't have to be like the member. If you get a new member, he doesn't have to be the greatest reinventing the wheel on his instrument. He can be good as long as he's not a dick. If you're a dick, I don't care how good you are on the guitar. It's not gonna work.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
I mean, these guys still hanging with me. So.
Yeah, that you're not good on the guitar.
zing,
It's all coming out. Yeah. You heard it here first.
the roast of the new hires.
This is literally recorded.
This is the Comedy Central's roast of the new hires.
When they make the new hires the movie, individually, who would you want to play you?
Oh
God.
just because of the hair. Is it Chris Hemsworth?
Wow.
The long,
Yes!
flowing blonde hair and jacked up. But
I was gonna say it's uncanny. It's uncanny.
Honestly, for me, the most appropriate answer is Will Forte.
I can see that.
Honestly,
Aiden, you go first.
I would I don't think I'm nearly as funny as him, but I'd love Paul Rudd to play me.
You can't go wrong with
I
that.
would also
Slap
love
it
to
in
have
the
Paul Rudd play me.
That'd be a good.
You gotta get Conan to play you.
Oh, Conan, yeah.
Oh yeah, Conan. be
Really
awesome,
tall.
Yeah.
Compared to everything.
And what
Does
other
he do
characteristic other than tall?
He's funny.
Yeah, that's
What? I'm funny, guys.
Yeah.
Jumps on the
Something else,
table.
I can't figure out what it is. So.
Max, you're going with Rudd as well.
It's so tough to
double
pick
Rudd?
one. Who would you guys pick for me? other than Steve
Oh,
Buscemi,
fudge!
obviously.
Who's the Harry Potter?
Oh, Daniel Radcliffe? Yeah, it's because of my obvious British accent.
No, it's just it'd be funny to see him play you.
The band.
That's fair. Chris
I want to
Hemsworth.
see. Yeah, I can imagine him playing you.
It'd be imagine, like I'd love
It's
to see
the new Hayas
just like-
Leviosa.
just like full on like Thor outfit, like on the drums, like playing.
So 2025 is here. We're in the midst of a snowstorm. It's early 2025. There's not really much going on. Little bits here and there. How do you foresee the whole year going? I know you got new recordings coming out. I know you're probably booking some shows. Things are coming up. Anything you can tell us about? Some juicy details?
If you made it this far in the podcast, congratulations, you get the secret plans.
Yeah, we have beep. No, a lot of it we can't divulge just yet, and a lot of it is one of those things where you're waiting until April for the summer schedule to solidify a little bit.
For shows, for sure.
But we're going back in studio in March, and then from there we have a bit of a release plan. We want to go into a longer format release, so we'll be doing that sometime, hopefully in the early fall. But I think that's about all we have solidified for now. We're just waiting for things to fall into place.
Yeah, nobody wants to tour in Canada in the winter, especially these months. Yeah.
Can you imagine right now?
The drives are shitty, and people don't leave their houses on certain days. So
There's
it's
definitely
like,
another 401 rip.
Yeah, I noticed you had a little back-to-back bunch of shows there. You had a small tour, Toronto, Montreal, Ottawa. That's cool. Those are nice little rips, though. You know what I mean? You don't need to be out forever. Yeah, you can't afford to. Well, I don't know about you guys, but you can't afford to play in the States anymore. Why would you even want to cross the border these days? If there is a border one of these days, I'm just saying.
Welcome to the 51st state.
Yeah,
We've
well-
actually been annexed since this podcast
Yeah,
was
it's
recorded.
Yeah.
Who knows what's gonna happen? But
Remember
no,
the good old days?
this is not a political podcast. This is not overly topical, so we're just gonna. I feel bad for bringing it up. I have shame.
No, I think we found out that like Ottawa is honestly a really good location because you have Montreal, you have Toronto, you have all those towns in between. You have Cornwall. It's a great
Kingston.
spot to go. Kingston.
We're
And
the
it's like-
center of a lot. That
Oh
you
yeah,
can do,
you can go both way. You can make little runs like pretty easily.
And Ottawa's big enough to have people, small enough to have a centralized music community. It's not like Montreal where it
Yeah.
feels like depending on which neighborhood you're in, there's different music communities. There's a lot of, I guess like a fractioned, or I don't know how to say it. A
Fractured,
very fractured scene where it just feels like you can't get any traction. Ottawa feels like we've been, at least I feel like we've been very lucky with having a lot of great community around us to support us to make the shows look fun, and then Ottawa citizens wanting to come out and participate. Like it's been really cool in that
It's
sense.
been insane.
I think it's great, and Ottawa has really kind of proved me wrong over the course of, I don't know, the last 3 years. Because out of the pandemic, when the local scene was just booming and everyone was back. In my mind, and from my experience in the Ottawa scene, it builds. It's peaks and valleys, right? It builds and then it kind of drops, and then it drops, and then it's back to where the realistic. And I think it was you who said, Aiden, before the pandemic, it was like hit and miss for shows, and then after the pandemic, it was just like you were turning people away, right? And I always thought that was going to dip, but it hasn't. So way to go, Ottawa.
That's always a fear still. Like I feel like we just played the Rainbow not too long ago.
Yeah.
We were really lucky and fortunate. It was a sold out show, but it's one of those things of like, whenever you put on a show, you never know what's going to happen. You never know if people are actually still going to care and want to show up. And it's super cool to have people show up, pack in a room, and know your lyrics, right? Like,
Yeah, and that Sun Junkie show was wild.
Yeah,
like
dude.
there's just like there's an energy. People, everybody wants to like be at every show because the talent is so good, and everyone's building that community. So it's awesome. Like I was in Calgary before, and you just didn't have the options, you know, Red Deer, or you have to drive 12 hours.
My good buddy Josh Hada lives in Red Deer. He's in a punk band called Trashed Ambulance. I talk to him all the time. He's local Red Deer, Alberta. I'm like, who the fuck lives there?
Josh.
Yeah, Josh Hada.
And the rest of his band, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
Deer Rouge, they're from Red Deer.
Oh yeah, okay. I'm gonna play you a clip from the previous episode.
So yeah, the Ottawa scene is thriving. It's amazing. What do you guys foresee, or what would you like for the new hires down the road?
Millions of dollars.
I always knew you were money motivated.
I can smell it on you.
No, I think we've talked about this, and it's kind of like we just kind of want to see how far we can take it. I think that's how far, you know, people will be interested, I guess, or how much. Because I guess music seems to be such a right place, right time kind of thing, and if you position yourself in that place, you know, hopefully the right time hits, and you know, I think that's what we're kind of at.
Yeah. Well, it's like you're taking it a step at a time. You're like you mentioned Blues Fest, right? Like that's one of the goals that we want, just because it seems like it'd be cool. We want to play Bronson Center at some point if we can, if we're lucky enough, just because it seems like it'd be fun. You know, like that's the steps that we're taking.
Yeah, and I have no doubt that you guys will accomplish those goals.
How does it feel to hear those a year and a half later of the things you've done? Sound familiar? Those people sound familiar?
I was a baby.
It sounds very familiar, and I think the mentality hasn't changed.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a point where it's...
Check Bronson Center.
Yeah, that's still...
We have an achievement list, and we did check off play Bronson Center.
Mm-hmm.
Blues Fest is still there. We didn't mention Blues Fest. You never know.
One day.
Okay. Just keep applying. You guys will get in there. No problem at all.
Yeah, it's such an iconic, like, for everyone here, like, such an iconic festival.
Ottawa,
It would just be, like, so insane, you know.
Yeah, speaking to the mentality too, I think that we're still very much like, see how far we can take this.
Yeah,
for
It's
sure.
so fun. Why stop now? It's far from a burden. So
well, it's cool because you guys should be really proud of yourselves for what you've done and where you've come in 3 years. But even just listening to that year and a half ago, you know what I mean? Your goals are still the same, and you're checking boxes.
Literally.
So that's awesome, man. That's awesome. If all of you could go back to the beginning of the band and relive it all, would you change anything? If so, what would it be and why?
I wouldn't change a thing. I think generally it goes with the mentality is like you never know what's going to happen, and if you try to change anything, it could, you know, ruin the whole thing, right? And like we've been very lucky in this ride, and at least I'd consider myself very fortunate with the guys and with the journey we've had so far and where we're heading, and you know, I think it's kind of tough to go back and say I'd change something.
Yep. Even the bad shit got you where you are, right?
It's a great thought to have, you know, going back to hindsight. But like, if I was to change anything, I think I'm on the same. I don't think there would be anything I could, like, would physically want. Like, I don't even know what would I want to change. What could have happened differently? I don't know. It's weird to think about.
From the most recent edition of Jack, I would try and sell my car earlier and go for a van. Because minivans are the way to go if you're in a band.
Yeah. If we're going to focus on you, Christian, I was going to say at least like 200% more cooking.
That could be a good one to know.
yeah, no, I think it everything, you know, thinking from like when we first started, like when, you know, three of us had our first version of it, like everybody who's here now, it came at the perfect time, and it's like been kind of a blessing that we found everybody at the right time. Like Christian, like, hey guys, I'm back. You know, it kind of worked out perfect, and you know, everybody's in their place that they're supposed to be in at this point, and we're gonna put out new stuff that reflects this snapshot in time, you know, And yeah, so I wouldn't change anything. It's good.
Cool. Well, I don't think you should either because, like I said, it's working. And you're making music and you're making people happy. And yourselves are having a great time doing it. So what more can you ask for? Right? Just don't become dicks. And don't forget about the little guy when you're huge, right?
Yeah, whatever, man.
Yeah, leaving ego and vice with an ego now.
Yeah. No vices. My new advice is you guys should break up. Okay, do you have any last words to the fans, to the friends, to the anything you want to part with as we wrap up?
Thank you. I think just saying thank you for everybody who's been a part of the ride the whole time. It's just been really cool, and it's one of those things where I think every show we play, we say thank you about 4 times because it's just something we don't take for granted. And thank you, Mike, for having us and being such a big pillar of our community. And I think it's what's important is being able to have access to this community and being able to kind of grow in it and see that people care and people want to get involved in different ways. And it's really cool. It truly is really cool.
I appreciate the kind words. I will always be here to help you guys out any way I can, and that goes for anyone listening, local bands, local anything. That's what I'm here to do, and that's what I like to do because that makes me happy. And I think that's the way everyone should help each other out, especially in arts or music or anything, right? Because it's a tough gig. Yeah, and it's a lot of work, as you say.
Well, I wouldn't say that it's a gig. You'd have to get paid for it to be a gig, but...
We don't speak of that.
What is this idea of millions of dollars we spoke about last time?
Yeah, are we putting that back into the band?
Yeah, let's see if that ever happens.
Want to get some kind of royalty or something? All right. Very last question I have for each of you. Describe the new hires in one word.
One word. One singular word. I should have prepared.
That's multiple words, Aiden.
Yeah.
In case you're counting.
Yeah, the best. Like it's the best thing ever, man. I don't know.
Suits.
Do you still wear the suits? Yeah. That's good.
Slightly different suits, but we still.
Well, I hope so. Yeah.
Silly.
Amazing.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for being on. I wish you nothing but the best in the future, and we'll do this again a year from now, and we'll say 2 years later.
Yeah.
You guys would be like, I'm not being on that shit. Do you know who I am?
We'll see you season 9.
Yeah, right.
See you in 18
One of
to
us will have a
36
lot
months.
more ego.
One of us
may have more vices.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks, guys. Good luck.
Thank you.
There's gotta be a weekend when we don't fall apart, 'cause I don't need you to come and take my spark. Baby, maybe we can spend some time apart, 'cause I don't need you to come and break my heart. Getting ready for a weekend where we don't fall apart, 'cause I don't need you to come and take my spark. Maybe we can spend some time apart, 'cause I don't need you to come and break my heart. I woke up late for what feels like the 7th day this week, but I swear I'll get back on my feet with the change of season. But she's seen every scene she says. I need more than just a weekend where we don't fall should start trying harder. But as the day gets long, I keep on singing the same songs with no rhyme, no reason. She sees through my schemes, she screams, weekend, let it all fall apart, 'cause I don't need you. And I'll just hit restart, baby, yeah, we can spend our lives apart, 'cause I don't need you to come and break my heart again. 'Cause I don't need you. No, I don't need you.
Hey, that is the end of episode 1 of the 1 Year Later series and the end of season premiere of season 8. Thank you so much for the new hires. You guys are the best, man. Thank you for coming back in and hanging out with me and hanging out with the Ego and Vice universe and the amazing Ottawa music community. Anyway, that's it for me. If you want to listen to the podcast, you can go to egoandvicepodcast.com. That is my home base, my HQ, my fortress of solitude, where you can find every episode, all the links to each band, that type of thing. If you want to reach out to me directly, you can send an email to egoandvice@gmail.com. But that's it for this week. Thank you so much for coming back. Thank you so much for all the support over the years. And season 8 is going to be awesome. See you in a bit.
You've got a real attitude problem, McFly. You're a slacker.